Okay, we are reconvening and we are going to start with public participation. I have 5 cards here and I'm going to call you down in order that I received them. And to remind you that we are not allowed to, there's something that you actually say. Public participation is an opportunity for the public to speak on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, and the council is not able to respond to any comments. And I don't have to say, City Clerk, do we have any public comments? Because I know that we do. First up, we have Nate Spangler.
My name is Nate Spangler. I'm a high school student here in Flagstaff, and I'm speaking on behalf of my peers who can't be here today. Thank you to Anika Pippis for reviewing my comment. In 2018, the city of Flagstaff declared a climate emergency and adopted the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan. It reaffirmed its commitment to protecting our planet's future, and it adopted the Carbon Neutrality Plan in 2021. And again, as recently as 2 weeks ago, when it adopted a revised Carbon Neutrality Plan. That's all to say that Flagstaff has made significant progress towards carbon neutrality. That being said, it should be clear that the current approach is inadequate. According to information provided by the city, our emissions are not going down. Instead, they are rising. As a community and as individuals, we are already feeling the impacts of climate change. Wildfires, floods, declining forest health, and erratic weather have already cost Flagstaff hundreds of millions of dollars, as well as the incalculable cost of disruption and anxiety. The threats are only growing. Without a serious and real focus on mitigation and adaptation, the world is being jeopardized for generations that are still becoming familiar with it. If the city of Flagstaff is meant to deliver on its promises and protect its citizens, present and future, then it needs to make more serious changes at a faster pace, which needs to begin with changes in the way that the city makes decisions and allocates its resources. You have been trusted with leadership in a unique time with unique responsibilities. And because of that, the lives of generations that are still coming into their own rest on the foundations you lay today. I hope that the council will be receptive to the invitation that's being made today, and I hope that the conversation that creates will be productive. I hope that the city of Flagstaff will demonstrate a commitment to my future and the futures of my peers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nate. Next, we have Paul Sanders.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Sanders, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Flagstaff Fire Department, where I serve as a captain paramedic. Basically, what I'm doing is kind of a 2022 year in review for the Flagstaff Fire Department, and I only have 3 minutes, so it's going to have to kind of be the Reader's Digest version of that. But this is simply just kind of a gee whiz for some of the stuff we accomplished in 2022. First of all, for you, those of you that are newly elected and the mayor, I appreciate all that you guys have done, and I wish you the best of luck on your terms. And for those of you who just completed, thank you for your hard work. I appreciate you as well. As far as staffing, recruitment, and retention goes, we had 4 retirements this year, 2 resignations, and we've since filled those positions. We have 10 firefighters that have been recently hired, and we have another hiring that is coming. We currently have 3 new paramedics that are in school with graduation coming this following year. We have 3 new paramedics that just got done with school, and we have 4 new paramedics that are in class currently with graduation coming the following year. We added another unit to our staffing, which is Rescue 3. So at Station 3, we now have a full-time rescue in addition to the engine and the ladder truck that's co-staffed there. So it kind of mirrors Station 2 for us. That was a big shot in the arm for us. Many of you are aware, but we had the CARES unit that was staffed that went into service full-time on March 29th. That's gathered a lot of attention from the media, and that's become a big thing for us. That's helping a lot of people that don't know that don't have resources otherwise. And we appreciate you guys' support during that. I'd like to, before I get into call volume, I'd like to preface by saying that we did switch to a new reporting platform. So some of the calls that came from our old one didn't transition over to the new year. We were previously in Firehouse, and now we're in a new program called ESO. But from the ESO side of things, we had over 15,000 incidents. So that's just calls. So if we had a call that required 3 engines and a battalion chief, that just counts as 1 call. So there's actually 15,000 incidents, actually a lot more runs per unit, if that makes sense. Of those calls, 66% of them were EMS calls, so that's 9,800. 5,000 paramedic interventions were occurred during those calls. 1,430 medications were given, and astoundingly, of our cardiac arrest calls, 35% of those regained pulses in the field. So that's a big accomplishment for us for certain. The CARES unit, as of today, has received about 1,000 calls for service, and it only started March 29th. Due to that, it's currently our busiest unit in operation on the FFD fleet. Just real quick, some big events that we had. We had the regional response to the tunnel and pipeline fires, as the gentleman before me mentioned. We saw flooding of biblical proportions, and we certainly met all the, we had a ton of rescues and sandbagging that came from that as well. So lots of off-duty, people coming in on overtime shifts to help mitigate some of those calls. We had the Grand Canyon Technical Rescue in the elevator car that was suspended, and we rescued 7 people that were trapped in an elevator down there. We had the U Picket fire, which is the auto salvage yard fire down off Loop Road. Is that my time? Okay, sorry. No, close enough. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. Next up, we have Carmelita Chief.
Hi, good evening, Yat, and also good afternoon, Mayor Daggett and members of the City Council. My name is Carmelita Chief, and I live here in Flagstaff. I relocated here 7 years ago, but as a Diné person, I have a deeply multi-generational connection to this land. My mothers are of the Kintlachitni clan, my fathers are of the Lukat Diné, my maternal grandfathers are of the Hanagatni, and my paternal grandfathers are of the Ya'i Diné Tachini. By profession, I'm a qualitative public health researcher. As a newly seated City Council, you have a great opportunity to address the climate change crisis with a fresh perspective and urgency. The petition before you asks you to prioritize this crisis in every decision you make. I know from personal experience that Indigenous people are especially affected by the rapidly changing climate. Water availability and quality, as well as decreased groundwater retention, are the most drastic impacts climate change has had on Indigenous people. As wells and springs dry up on the Navajo Nation and other tribal lands, people have had to drive longer distances to access water for themselves and their livestock. Those who cannot afford this cost take the risk to use unsafe water from nearby resources. The hotter climate also takes a toll on food security in Indigenous communities. Farmers rely on rainfall to water their crops. But monsoonal rainfall has declined, which leaves crops like corn dried out and farmers unable to feed themselves, their families, and extended relatives in the community. The latest IPCC report said that hazards like flooding, weather extremes, and loss of arable land will occur simultaneously, and that some effects would be irreversible. The report also said that supporting Indigenous people's self-determination and sovereignty and working with Indigenous practitioners to incorporate traditional ecological knowledge and land management practices may help address or even mitigate this crisis. Flagstaff is the largest city in northern Arizona, and policies made by this City Council will impact not only residents of Flagstaff, but people living in surrounding communities as well. And so we trust you will work in good faith to address the climate change and public health crisis that affects us all. We also ask you to consider changes in staff reports associated with your meeting's agenda items, in the budgeting process, and in the organizational structure. Our recommendations are focused on policy and processes that only you can make. And so tonight, I thank you for your consideration, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Carmelita. Michael Calkins.
Hi. I'm just so you know, I'm following with Nate's comments and Carmelita's. So good afternoon, Mayor Daggett, Vice Mayor Aslan, and members of the council, returning and new. My name is Dr. Mike Calkins, and I live here in Flagstaff. I speak to you today as a parent, as a nurse, as an environmental educator, and as a concerned citizen of our city, our nation, and our world. I grew up in a family of activists who were engaged in movements to promote peace and justice and environmental sustainability, so the ideas I speak about today are true to my heart and who I am. With a great sense of urgency, we are presenting you, who represent us, with 3 powerful policy changes. We think, all of us wearing green this afternoon, and over 200 community members who have signed in support of this framework, that these changes will absolutely elevate the city's ability to carry out the people's business as if we were in a true climate crisis, which of course we are. My 2 sons, Bridger and Alex, who are here with me tonight, they have asked me what I'm doing to help reverse climate change. And I wonder what I can do to help create a world where they can live and thrive and want to have children of their own. When your own children say they don't want to have kids because of a climate crisis, I hope the hope that you have for them fades, and you wonder what kind of future and joy these young people get to have in their lives for these coming years and decades. We all have to be agents in this work. For all of the amazing work that the city's sustainability program has done and is doing, it cannot fight for this all by itself within the city. Elevate your ability to focus on the climate emergency. Create the conditions so that the city's decisions, its budgeting, and its structure enable that focus so that you and the community you serve can respond as vigorously and humanely as possible to this threat on our doorstep. These are not normal times, and we need the creativity and the courage to meet them with all that we've got. For Bridger and for Alex, for your children, for all of our children, and the hopes of their lives, I implore you to act strongly now. To reiterate our petition really briefly, we're asking you to change the decision-making process. Every staff report prepared for an agenda item that requires a formal vote should include a Flagstaff Sustainability Office assessment about its climate impact. For budget, your budget process should be restructured so that all line items across the entire organization will be reviewed and assessed for greenhouse gas emissions and advancement towards climate justice. And in terms of organizational structure, the Flagstaff Sustainability Office should take a leading role within the city's governmental structure and not just be one of its divisions. Thank you so much for listening and taking our words to heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Mark Alexander.
Hello. I speak on behalf of this petition for a prior climate assessment of all your actions that you take for the city. I also speak for all the old guys in the audience who've been around forever. When I was growing up, few of us had any awareness of climate change. We knew the environment needed to be cleaned up, and there was toxins and poisonous chemicals, and problems with streams and landfills and more. And we supported certain regulations, for example, auto emissions and banning the substances and such. But it was several decades before any of us really heard about or knew about the threat to humanity and non-human species due to global climate changing and warming caused by greenhouse gas emissions. This became a great concern in recent years. I have 4 children, 9 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren, and I think about their future every day. What will their life quality be like under the circumstances that we will have? And I'm sure you do as well. This is what motivates me. I personally have 14 solar panels, a solar battery, and have many other ways of creating my own personal resilience. I and others here request that the council examine or prioritize this issue on every decision that you're going to make over the coming years. The petition was signed by over 200 residents, and it has an active framework where to assist you in making good decisions that will affect the climate going forward. And we hope to have ongoing conversations and discussions about this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. I see there are no online comments and no more in-person comments. So thank you all for coming and participating in public participation. Our next item is December work anniversaries. Here comes Shannon.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm going to pull up this presentation. So we have before you those employees who are celebrating their work anniversaries. We celebrate in five-year increments, so 5, 10, 15, and then once you hit 25 and more, we bring to you each year what those employees have been accomplishing within our organization given their longevity. So here we go. So for 5-year anniversaries, we have 2 firefighters, Jacob and Tyler Dobbs. There's William as well as Nicholas, fire engineer and fire engineer paramedic. Brian is one of our fire engineer paramedics as well, and Mason is one of our equipment operator 3s. And then our last 5-year anniversary for December is George. He's one of our police officers. For 10 years, we have Amy Hagan. She is our Assistant Parks and Recreation Director. 15 years, Skylar, who works at our airport as Operations and Airport Rescue Firefighter Specialist. And then Brandon, one of our Equipment Operator 3s, also within Public Works. Continuing with 15 years, we have Amanda, who works in Housing Services as one of our Specialist Lead Workers. And then Ryan Forsman, who is one of our police officers. Our last 15-year anniversary for December is Valerie, and she's one of the administrative specialists over at the police department. Starting with our 25 years plus, this is Joe Almendarez. He works in wastewater collections as one of the supervisors. He's been with the city for 27 years. He oversees a team of 10 employees in wastewater and stormwater collections. Some of his successes this year is the annual preventative maintenance program, emergency response to the flooding that we experienced over the summertime, the combining of the wastewater and the stormwater collection crews on that post-fire flooding assistance and cleanup. And they've done an amazing job with the open and closed channel stormwater maintenance this year. So those are some of their great accomplishments. So we want to congratulate Joe on his 27 years with Team Flagstaff. I believe he is joining us today. He's online? Okay, great. Joe, did you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank you for taking the time to recognize me. The past 27 years have given me the opportunity to learn and excel in my current role. I have enjoyed working for the city of Flagstaff and look forward to the years to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe, for joining us.
Thank you.
And then this gentleman is Richie Hearn. He is our streets manager, and he's been with the city for 36 years this month. Richie continues to be the heartbeat of the streets section. He supports and manages all things streets operations and administration. His experience, knowledge, and patience with the team continues to build a strong and thriving culture. Over this past year, Richie's been critical to the success of balancing street staff time between disaster response and their daily maintenance work, which has not been an easy task. In addition, Richie's been supporting the development of the street strategic plan by balancing work programs and staffing needs. Sam Beckett, Richie's supervisor, shared, "I greatly appreciate all that Richie does for his team and our community." Congratulations, Richie, on your 36th year. That's all we have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Are any of the other employees in the audience?
I do not believe so.
Okay, I was going to make you stand up so that we could applaud you, but you got out of it. Thanks. All right, now we are moving into liquor license public hearings.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Madam Mayor, we would just need to open the public hearing.
That's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to open up the public hearing, the liquor license public hearing. Thank you. And then staff goes, right?
I'll go.
Okay.
Good afternoon,
Sorry about that.
Mayor, Council. I'm Kevin Sapp. I'm the Professional Standards Sergeant for the Flagstaff Police Department. I'm here to answer any questions you might have regarding the 2 liquor licenses. In my investigation, I saw no derogatory remarks against them, and I do want to note that Brown Bag Burger was able to produce their evidence that they took the proper training. So,
Thank you. Any questions? Do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, you would just need to make a call to the public for any comments.
Do we have any public comments?
Mayor, at this time, we do not.
Now I'm going to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to pass. Mayor, I would like to motion to pass this.
So the motion would be to move to recommend approval of the liquor license to the state.
Mayor, I move to approve the request for the liquor license with the state.
Yes.
Do we need her to say both or one?
No, just both. Yeah. For both the item 13A and 13B.
For 13A and 13B.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I promise we'll get better at this.
Don't worry, it's a learning experience as we go.
All right, we're moving into the regular agenda. Item 14A, consideration and adoption of Resolution 2022-61, a resolution adopting the City Council 2023 commemorative flag designations. And this does not have a public hearing, is that correct?
That's correct, no public hearing.
Correct. I do believe we do have an online public commenter, but let me go ahead and get this going here. All right. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Stacy Salzberg. I'm your city clerk. Before you tonight is a resolution that will designate the flags that are flown during the 2023 calendar year. This designation stems from a change in policy where council will identify the flags that they want flown each calendar year. I did receive a couple of requests for additions to our existing schedule. Those are noted here in red. So the first change would be to include the flying of the flag for the second half of the month for to commemorate the Russian invasion of Ukraine, specifically on February 24th. The next addition is the Tree City, USA flag for the month of July. And then in August, we have Ukraine Independence Day, which is 6 months from that first date of February 24th to August 24th, so that would be flown the second half of the month. Those were the only requests that I received during that open period from the council, and that is what is presented to you tonight.
Thank you, Stacy. So should we take public comment before we have any discussion among council members?
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to take public comment now.
Mayor and council, I have Kate Wyatt. Kate, you may go ahead and address Mayor and council.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I'm Kate Wyatt, the Director of Human Trafficking Services with Northland Family Help Center and the creator of the Flagstaff Initiative Against Trafficking. I'm here to ask that you consider raising a human trafficking awareness flag in January for Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Month. Council was provided an image of the flag, which is light blue with a dark blue ribbon and states, quote, "End human trafficking." Since the start of our work, we have had over 600 individuals identify experiences of exploitation in our community. We also know that demand continues to be an issue, with 12 men having been arrested for attempting to purchase sex in Flagstaff. Members of the community continue to receive education on exploitation, and FIA alone provides training to over 500 individuals and organizations annually. Raising the flag would complement our efforts of expanding awareness to our local citizens. I want to thank the past council and staff for their unending support of our anti-trafficking efforts and look forward to working with our new community leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Mayor, that was our only public comment.
All right, thank you. So we'll turn it inward. Councilmember, Vice Mayor Aslan.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So just a couple of clarifying points. It was my suggestion that we get a hold of a Ukrainian flag and use it twice this year. I believe the city clerk may have misspoke when she said the first instance would be to commemorate the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's more to memorialize the incident. But of course, just giving her a hard time about that. And then again, later in August, thank you. Oh, it wouldn't scroll for me because it's not on my screen. It's just an image that we're looking at, which is exactly 6 months to the day from the Russian invasion. Is normally Ukrainian Independence Day as well. And I don't have a Ukrainian flag on hand. I'm betting that collectively we could figure out a way to get a hold of one, and I would certainly take upon myself the responsibility to make sure that happened if we do move forward with this idea. And since I have the mic on, I would just like to mention that I'm fully supportive of the trafficking flag that was suggested by our public commenter, Kate. Trying to pull up your information here, but maybe someone else can, there it is, speak more to the details. But I think this is a very worthwhile flag for us to fly for Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Month, and I'm fully supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember House.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm fully in agreement with that, and I had actually reached out to staff earlier today when we received that message to ask if we could perhaps split the month of January, since that's the same month for that, between High Tech Month and the Trafficking Awareness Month. I definitely agree that since we have made a strong verbal emphasis on raising awareness for human trafficking in our community, that certainly is appropriate for us to fly next year. I see the city attorney had a comment, so I can pause mine to allow him to speak if he was going to speak to that in particular.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Councilmember House and Vice Mayor. As to the purchase of the flag, it is a government speech policy, so the city would purchase that the Ukrainian flag as to the request from Councilmember House and also the Vice Mayor. That comes from you, the council, the request for this additional flag for half of the month of January with respect to human trafficking. So that's in accordance with the policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Sorry about that. And then just to continue then, thank you for that clarification. So I would like to formally make that request that we do that split month commemoration. I also wanted to just ask specifically about the flags for Native American Heritage Month and Black History Month. Just in looking at them both, I wasn't sure where those flags came from and if we've done outreach to perhaps the Indigenous Council or local Indigenous groups for ensuring that that flag is actually culturally representative and meaningful for the Indigenous community. And the same for the Black History Month flag. There's the Pan-African or the UNIA flag that exists. And I just wonder if we've looked at the potential to re-examine what those flags look like. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff, do you have any information on that?
I'm running dual duty today. Thank you for the request. So the way that this policy is structured, and I'll lean on the city attorney to help me out if I misstep here. The request typically will come from council, and along with that request comes a copy or a link, if you will, on where we were to purchase said flag. So staff really doesn't have any involvement in that piece. We're relying on council to provide us with the flags that you're wanting to specifically fly. So if there is a desire to change the flag or flags, we can certainly accommodate that. We just need to know which flags you would prefer us to use. The ones that are listed here are the ones that were identified by council at the time. There hasn't been any request to change those, but again, we stand ready and happy to do that at your direction. Did I get that correct?
You did, and that's the reason we have the actual flag displayed so that you, the council, and the public can know what you, the council, are choosing to display during those times of the months.
Thank you, Stacy. Did you have any other comments, Councilmember House?
I just would suggest that maybe as a council then we look at that option of re-examining some of these. Particularly those two were the ones that stood out to me. I'm not sure if others have feelings on any of the others, but I definitely like to take a look at those. I don't know if that postpones the actual selection of the commemorative flags or if we can move forward just understanding that we're going to look at what those ones specifically look like.
Mayor and council, you can look forward or move forward and just look at that as we go. We can come back to that just to, if you want to make an amendment to the resolution to substitute a different flag or image later, that is fine, but you can move forward today without any problems. Understanding, though, that it will be the images that are displayed in the resolution today unless and until council amends that. Thank you.
Councilmember McCarthy?
Thank you, Mayor. I think my comment sort of just got covered. I was going to suggest that we could pass this now, tonight, and then in a week or two or whenever, if someone wants to change one of the images, we could have a new motion at that point to change what we do tonight. So I'm willing to go forward with this tonight. Just for the record, I might mention that I have voted in the past against the whole concept of putting up flags out on the lawn. So I still have some reservations about it, but I think tonight I am going to vote yes on this. But I do kind of question the idea of putting all these flags up and the need for it. And, you know, in some cases it really makes people happy. And other people, it offends people, and it's like, why do we need to get into the business of creating controversy? But again, I'm going to vote yes tonight. Who knows? Next year I might vote no.
Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I was going to suggest, I mean, I see Rose is in the audience. for lack of a better term. Wondering if she would be willing to come up here and maybe speak to Councilmember House's question. I don't know if you have any history you can share with us for how that flag was chosen, or if you have any thoughts you'd be willing to share with us of if there's an alternative that might be more appropriate.
Good afternoon and congratulations, new mayor and new council members, as well as the returning. I want to just say that this flag specifically for Native American Heritage Month was brought in before my time. And so I think, and I agree with Councilmember House that it should be looked at again. And I was in research of a new flag to have an updated flag, but I wasn't able to come across it in time. So, and also one that was already made, like as a flag with the measurements that are appropriate for what we do. So I agree with that, and I would appreciate that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Any other comments? So I might suggest that instead of cutting February in half, that we maintain the Black History Month for all of February and add the Ukrainian flag in August for Independence Day. How would you feel about that, Vice Mayor?
I'm looking at my original suggestion in email. It might have just been to fly the flag the one day of February 24th. So my understanding is we could put the Black History Month flag back up beyond that day. I don't think we necessarily need to retire the flag just because we take it down one afternoon. Maybe you can address that concern. If that's not a problem, my suggestion would be just to fly it that one day and not take up 2 weeks of February with it.
Thank you for the comments and the question. I will offer that the way that the policy is written is that it's 1 month or split in half by 2 months. While we stand ready to do as council directs, it is a little bit of a challenge to get one flag up for the day, bring it down for the night. But the way the policy is written is 1 month or split into 2, but we can accommodate a single day if that is the direction of council.
Well, since you said that, that would be my preference, and maybe as long as we don't get into a habit of doing that every month for various particular commemorative days. But I'm also open to your suggestion. I understand where it's coming from, and we do have another opportunity to fly the Ukrainian flag in solidarity later on. So it's up for discussion.
Mayor, would you like to have a motion?
One moment, please. Councilmember House was already reaching for the microphone.
Thank you, Mayor. I certainly understand the challenge that it presents, but I am definitely in agreement with the Vice Mayor's suggestion there. I don't want to not acknowledge and memorialize the start of that conflict. So I would definitely be in agreement with flying it for that day, or even if it made it easier that weekend, if it's depending on when the day falls, maybe would determine that. But I don't want to just cut it out completely, but I also don't want to bisect all of Black History Month for that. So I think if we can reach a compromise there.
Can we do that inside the current, inside our current ordinance toward flags?
So the way it is written out in the policy, it is a bifurcation of the month. Selecting one day would be deviating from that policy. I would recommend best practice would be to go back and amend your policy first if you wanted to do that. That's just my take on it, but that's up to you as a council.
Councilmember Harris.
All right. February is already the shortest month of the year. And since it has been Black History Month for probably as long as most of us have been alive, I would recommend that we go ahead and continue to fly the flag for Black History Month the entire month. And I would say that perhaps we could look at August, which is the Independence Day, August 24th, and fly the Ukrainian flag in solidarity with them and their, what am I trying to say? Their independence. That's the word I was looking for. Their independence. It has nothing to do with not recognizing what has happened, but more to do with just being practical and not putting more work on staff. They're already probably short-staffed. So I would say let's do the Black History Month because we've always done it, or we haven't always done it, but it's been Black History Month, as far as I know, for a lot of years. And then let's do August. Fly the Ukrainian flag in August. Just a suggestion.
That's completely understandable. And again, the intention was just to fly the Ukrainian flag for that one day. So I think we should move forward without the Ukrainian flag in February, given the comments that Councilmember Harris just made. But also, I would like to revisit that policy. Maybe we can put a pin in that, City Attorney, and next time we have the opportunity to make a quick adjustment to the policy to allow for single-day flags, maybe not more than 2 or 3 throughout the entire year, just to keep it from becoming a hassle and a burden. I think that might be a smart way to move forward long term.
There's a pin in it.
Councilmember McCarthy, did you want to make a motion?
I will, and thank you for all the good discussion. I move that we read Resolution 2022-61 by title only, with the one change that with respect to what's in the packet and on the screen right now, that the entire month of February would be Black History Month. That's the motion. As far as discussion, I might add that I think that the Purple Heart and the Ukrainian flag in the same month, I think there's some connection between those two. So I think that makes a lot of sense too. So that's my motion.
If I may, before you finish your motion, were you going to consider adding the human trafficking awareness flag for the first half of January as well?
Yes, and the reason I'm going to add that, I forgot for a minute, but thank you. The reason I am is that one of our council members had already suggested that prior to the meeting today, so I think it's legitimate to add it in. So, Ms. House, does it matter if it's the first half or the second half, or what would be your preference?
I have no preference.
City Manager.
Thank you. Making it the second half might afford staff a little more time to acquire the flag. Thanks.
So my motion
Always
is
thinking.
that the human trafficking would be for the second half of January. So the two changes from what's on the screen, the human trafficking and take out the Ukrainian flag in February, but definitely included in August. I think that's clear now.
I second the motion as amended.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion? All right, so the motion to read the resolution by title only, did I say that correctly? Passes. No.
You just need to call for the vote, please.
We didn't vote? I already forgot that we didn't vote. Okay, we have a motion and a second. No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries.
And now I'll go ahead and read that resolution.
City Clerk, would you now please read that resolution?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Flagstaff, pursuant to the City Council policy on the display of flags, designating all commemorative flags that will be displayed throughout the year 2023 on the temporary pole in front of City Hall as amended.
I move to adopt Resolution 2022-61 as amended.
Thank you, Councilmember. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. The motion to adopt resolution number 2022-61 passes. And we move on to City Council liaison assignments.
Can I just say that this flag process is actually getting a lot smoother? We're making progress.
All right. So we have all of the commissions here in the agenda, and we have some council members who are already serving on some of these commissions, and I'm wondering, I guess first for continuing council members, are you wanting to continue serving on your commissions? And let's go down the list. And the first is FMPO, 3 liaisons and 1 alternate. Currently, we have Councilmember McCarthy is the chair, correct? And you would like to continue that?
I would like to continue as chair. I was just elected last month. Actually, I served 2 years, but I was the Metro Plan Board asked me if I would stay on for another year as chair. So I would like to stay on that.
I would also like to
Okay.
remain.
Okay, and the vice mayor is also on that. And Councilmember Sweet, are you currently serving on that?
I am not, but I do have interest in being on that. I currently am on NAPTA, and the two do go hand in hand quite well, and I think if I were on both, it would serve us well.
All right, thank you. Is there any discussion, would any of our newly elected members like to have a discussion about FMPO and who is serving on it?
Perhaps Chair McCarthy would be willing to take 30 seconds to define what the Metro Plan is and what it does, and go through the intricacies of there's an open liaison seat and also an alternate seat, and what does that mean from your perspective?
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
May I do that, Mayor?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So Metro Plan, which is officially a Flagstaff Metropolitan Planning Organization, is involved with planning transportation. That would be bicycle, ped, automobile, and primarily those, not so much airport or trains, although there has been some involvement with Amtrak. That's basically their role. And the structure is we have 3 people that are on the board from this council and 1 alternate. Now, over the last couple of years, the alternates have really not had to appear because the 3 primary voters or members have consistently been there. And I'll quickly mention that the Board of Supervisors county, Coconino County, has 2 seats. Patrice Horstman is in the audience. She's one of them. And then, let's see, I think the Mountain Line has a seat also. So does that kind of answer it in 30 seconds?
Is NAU on there as well, or is that just NAPTA?
No, NAU is on the NAPTA, which is Mountain Line, the bus board, but not on Metro Plan.
So are either of our new council members interested in being the alternate on FMPO? Because I am, if you're not. All right. I'm alternate. Councilmember Sweet. All right, and next we have NAPTA. Councilmember Sweet, would you like to tell us a little bit about serving on NAPTA's?
Absolutely. It's a great board to be on, and we do discuss everything with our buses here in town. And one of the biggest conversations right now, of course, is the hospital and the new location. Some exciting things happening, and I would highly recommend anyone hopping on board.
Thank you. And you're interested in continuing to serve?
Absolutely.
And was Councilmember Salas the second?
It was Councilmember Shimoni.
Ah, hey.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, he looks familiar. So, is there anyone interested in being? Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to put my hat in the ring on that.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, you're on. All right, and who would like to be an alternate to NAPTA? Councilmember Harris? All right, next we have NAMWA, the Northern Arizona Municipal Water Users Association, and currently Vice Mayor, I keep having to stop, Vice Mayor Aslan serves as the, you're not chair of that, are you chair of the Colorado Plateau?
Yeah, I'm not involved with NAMWA presently. So.
Okay, who's currently serving?
Mayor, that is actually me.
All right, and are you interested in continuing to serve?
Sure.
Is there anyone else who would be interested in serving? It sounds like Councilmember Sweet would allow you to step into that seat if you'd like.
I do love everything water, so I'm happy to continue with it.
All right, who would like to be the alternate?
Can you say more about it?
You know, I've only been to, I think, 2 meetings, and it is a lot of technical water discussion, I'll be honest. So it would be good if I continued, because I feel like I'm just now getting the hang of it a little.
And our member who serves doesn't have to lead those technical conversations. There are experts who do it. Not that Councilmember Sweet isn't close to becoming an expert.
Who was the alternate?
I was for a while. I don't know who. All right. Oh,
I don't think we ever replaced the alternate when you stepped off from council.
there was no replacement.
Right, never.
All right. I'll be, if it's all right with everyone else, I will take the alternate on that. And the audit committee, I believe that Councilmember Matthews was interested in this. Is that correct?
Mayor, I don't think I put it on the list, but it is in my wheelhouse, so absolutely.
And Councilmember McCarthy?
I think if Ms. Matthews did that, that'd be great. And I think they'll only meet once or twice a year, so it's not a big load. But with your background, I think you'd be excellent.
Great. Thank you. ECONA, the Economic Collaborative of Northern Arizona, and Councilmember Salas was serving. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mayor.
All right, thank you. So I am interested in serving on ECONA's executive board. Is anyone else? Yes?
I'm interested in serving on this board.
All right, so we need one liaison and one alternate. Okay. All right, so I will be the liaison, and Councilmember Matthews will be the alternate. Next, we have NACOG. Councilmember Sweet, are you still serving on that?
I am, and I'm happy to continue unless there's other council members interested in that.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the work that they do?
It's kind of more of a regional council, and we do everything from Head Start to transportation, and we meet quarterly and in a different location each time. It's a great group. We do field trips and get to know the city that we're meeting in, and it's a great way to talk to other regional partners.
Thank you. Is there anyone who's interested in? All right, and Councilmember Sweet, you are interested in continuing?
I am, unless there's someone else itching for that position. We do need an alternate.
Would someone like to be the alternate?
I'll be the alternate.
Thank you, Councilmember Harris. All right, Colorado Plateau Water Advisory Council. Vice Mayor, you are currently serving.
I am currently the chair of this advisory council and have been for a couple of years and was just reelected to it. Very much would like to stay on board with that. This is a great group. I highly recommend we pick up an alternate. Mayor Daggett, when you were vice mayor, you were the alternate. And once again, you were irreplaceable. This group, just so folks understand, is sort of an outside group, but we pay dues into it as the city of Flagstaff, and we're very involved with them. There are lots of cities in northern Arizona that are involved. There are an incredible plethora of agencies and just really respectable groups that are involved in this, and it's mostly about just having some funding on hand to do some water quality studies. We do the 4th grade water contest. We have about a $100,000 budget that we mostly hold on to every year. There are monthly meetings. Every third meeting is in person, but can still be attended remotely. And that's over at the USGS building up on Gemini. Great group, yearly field trip. Really highly recommend joining this group in terms of just honing your water chops and getting to be part of the conversation, especially about the rural management of water throughout northern Arizona. And I know there's some interest in out there in the crowd about becoming an alternate, so I'll let the Hunger Games begin, I guess. But highly recommend the experience and the learning. There's some technical aspects to it. It's mostly the members are scientists and with scientific agencies, but it's a great way to stay involved in the water conversation, where things are going, and to network around water conservation and water policy and water leadership in the northern Arizona.
All right, may the odds be ever in your favor. Who would like to be the alternate? Councilmember Matthews, you're interested? All right. All right, sister cities. This is a discretionary, am I correct?
That is correct, Mayor. Councilmember Salas was currently serving on this particular committee. And I believe Heidi Hansen has some information that she can share with you.
Thank you. Heidi?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Heidi Hansen, Interim Deputy City Manager. Yes, Sister Cities is a board that was created from a desire from past council to make sure that we reconnect our sister cities, because we had we haven't had a real relationship with sister cities. So this board started about 2 years ago again, and they are actually still working through all of that things that a board needs to do. And they are currently getting ready to have a sister city, I believe, in Mexico. And Trace Ward, our CVB director, Discover Flagstaff director, actually sits on that board with a council liaison. And these meetings are probably every other month. That could change. They're not super time consuming, but whoever sits on there has, you know, what we're trying to do is not only have a sister city that is helpful with a relationship with tourism, but a relationship with our university, with our colleges, as well as with our economic development attraction efforts. So that's really what we're trying to do, is to reestablish sister cities. We're getting there. So I hope that's helpful in what you would be doing.
Yes, thank you. Do we have a council member interested in serving as the liaison with sister cities? And what happens if we don't?
Mayor, you don't have to have a liaison on the Sister Cities Board. What we can do is staff from our tourism section can definitely come back to the council at any time and let you know what we're doing, give you an update and all of that. Where we will get you involved, Mayor, is normally when you have a relationship with a sister city, we normally have a mayor connection. So what we'll do is we'll be bringing back letters that we might want you to send or write on or we'll write for you, but you might approve on our behalf. So that goes to another mayor in another city. So that would be the extent of what we would be doing with bringing you into the fold on a sister city.
Great, thank you. And I think at this time, there is no one interested in serving as the liaison, so we look forward to reports, and maybe someone will be interested at a later date.
No worries, Mayor. We'll make sure we update you accordingly.
Thank you. All right, next we have the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. And Councilmember Shimoni was on this. Was there? Oh, yes, City Manager.
Thank you. I can offer some explanation if you like. I'm also a part of that.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. A very important entity that comprises city and county law enforcement and judicial representation, as well as from the governmental entities. I believe both city and county manager are part of this, and other individuals as well. But the focus, as the name implies, is coordinating on criminal justice matters. I am pleased to report that the group is now expanding and will include representatives of our indigenous community, a very important step forward. It is chaired by Judge Slater, and we have had a strategic plan in place now for, I think, about a year, and implementation of that plan is in process. We have utilized a consultant for that who's done an excellent job, in my opinion. And also notable of late is the new executive director. So the council has been undergoing a considerable transition, but I don't think it's an overreach to say that it has really solidified in recent times. Councilmember Shimoni was an active participant in this group, and this is one that I think would be a wonderful opportunity for anybody who has interest in criminal justice. Things like the CARES program gets referenced a lot, as well as some of the county programs underway, and there are several, and our recovery court with the judicial branch and so forth. So there's a lot of very positive and forward progressing programs that get referenced in this council, and I'll stop by noting it was this council that had involvement initially with sending folks out to the Safe Harbor facility in Florida. I hope I'm getting the name of that correct, because it's been a few years, frankly, but that's where a lot of this was initiated. So hopefully that gives you some context. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. So this is one that I'm interested in. Were you reaching for the button? Yes, Councilmember Matthews.
Yes, Mayor, I was just wondering, it says monthly, but is there a scheduled date on it?
I believe, and allow me to access my calendar, it is the second Wednesday. Councilmember Shimoni, former Councilmember Shimoni, right behind me, you know, in my ear. I don't think that's the last time that will happen.
Yeah, are you going to
Second
be here at every meeting?
Yes. And they start at 3 o'clock, and it's a 2-hour meeting. Thank you.
Councilmember Matthews, is this something that you're interested in?
Mayor, I have an interest in it just because it also affects a lot of my residents at my nonprofit, and I've gone to the, what court is it when they get off probation? What do they call it?
Recovery court.
The recovery court is just so amazing, but I'll be your alternate if you really want to do it, but it is something just kind of near and dear to my heart.
Or I could be your alternate. Is there anyone else who's interested?
I'll just say for the record, I was flirting with the idea of being the alternate, but I can also make more of a presence and attend a lot of these meetings in an unofficial capacity or role. So I'm happy to step back, just telegraphing my interest moving forward and being somewhat involved in those goings-on.
Thank you. And that's an important point for all of these, is that you are allowed to attend the meetings even if you're not a member or the alternate. All right. So now we move on to individual boards and commissions.
Wait, so how did that end up?
Mayor, do we have Councilmember Matthews as the member and Mayor Daggett as the alternate for the CJCC?
Do you want to arm wrestle?
No, I was saying it's between the two of you. I just wanted everybody to know that I also am interested in keeping abreast of these things.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so it's between you two, I think.
So Councilmember Matthews will be the member and I'll be the alternate. All right, so we have the Airport Commission. Who currently, was this Councilmember Salas? Who's interested in serving as the liaison to the Airport Commission? Very important commission.
I'm interested in that commission.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we have Councilmember Harris as the liaison with the Airport Commission. Then next up, we have the Beautification and Public Art Commission.
Mayor, that is currently me, and I would like to continue.
Is anyone else interested in the commission? All right, Councilmember Sweet remains the liaison to the Beautification and Public Art Commission. The Commission on Diversity Awareness. Councilmember House.
So I am not the current. I believe it may have been Mayor Deasy who was the current liaison, but I would be interested in that one for sure.
All right, do we have anyone else? So Councilmember House will be the liaison to the Commission on Diversity Awareness. The Commission on Inclusion and Adaptive Living. Who is the current liaison?
Mayor, that was Mayor Deasy.
All right. Is there anyone interested in this commission? All right, I would like to be the liaison. All right, next up we have the Housing Commission, and Councilmember House is currently the liaison to the Housing Commission and was serving as a member of the Housing Commission before she was appointed to the City Council. Are there others who are interested in this commission?
And you said any of us can just attend meetings, correct?
Correct. All right, Councilmember House remains the liaison to the Housing Commission. Next, we have the Indigenous Commission. I'm very interested in this.
Mayor Daggett, I'm also interested in it. I continue to seek understanding of the cultural differences that we have in the population that I serve at my nonprofit. So I would like to be a backup or the liaison.
How about I attend the meetings and you as well as the liaison. Because I'm very interested in the conversations. I don't necessarily need to be the liaison. All right, the Open Spaces Commission. Currently we have Councilmember House is the liaison to the Open Spaces Commission. Are you interested in continuing to serve?
I would be interested, but I saw Councilmember Harris reaching for her mic, and I am willing to trade off if she was interested in that.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes, I am interested.
And is there an arm wrestle, or you're willing to?
I'm willing and welcoming of that. Thank you, Councilmember Harris.
All right, Councilmember Harris will be the liaison to the Open Spaces Commission. Parks and Recreation Commission was also Councilmember Salas.
And I would like to do that one also.
Is there anyone else who's interested in that commission? All right, we have Councilmember Harris as the liaison to the Parks and Recreation Commission. The Sustainability Commission, is that
me.
currently you?
Yeah, and I'm very happy to stay on that, but if someone else wants to arm wrestle me for it, please say so. I'm interested in the conversation.
Councilmember House?
I don't want to arm wrestle you for it, but I would like to just know when those meetings are. I'd just be interested in attending.
They're once a month on a Thursday at 4:30 in the afternoon. I think it's the third Thursday, but
This says fourth Thursday.
okay. Sometimes there's only 3 weeks in a month. So no, yeah, I almost had that right. So yeah, fourth Thursday, 4:30 in the afternoon.
Councilmember McCarthy?
Just a quick request of the city clerk. Could you send out the schedule for all these meetings? Because there's 2 or 3 that I was thinking I should sit in on. I know Mr. Shimoni used to routinely sit in on the Transportation Commission, which I was liaison to. So if we could know when they are, then we can decide maybe I should go. Bet she already has it.
Councilmember, we will be happy to forward you a schedule for that. Of course, we'll copy the entire council.
Yes, and I apologize, Councilmember McCarthy, it used to be online, but it seems to have fallen off the bottom since COVID.
Madam Mayor.
Although it was part of our agenda, correct? Yes. That's all right. So, we're at an impasse.
I'm happy to stay there, or unless you want it. Yep.
All right, Vice Mayor Aslan is the liaison to the Sustainability Commission. The Tourism Commission.
I would like to pick that one up from Councilmember Salas.
All right, the Vice Mayor is interested. Is anyone else interested in this commission? All right. Vice Mayor Aslan has the Tourism Commission, Transportation Commission, Councilmember McCarthy.
I would like to continue on in that because it ties in very well with the Metro Plan. And as far as as I'm mentally calculating future workload, I'll mention that the Transportation Commission has 2 subcommittees, one for bicycle and one for pedestrian. And I tend to, I won't say my attendance has been 100%, but I've been to essentially all of those meetings, and I go to those. So in effect, that commission is 3 commissions.
Councilmember McCarthy trying to scare everyone away from the Transportation Commission. Is anyone else interested? All right, Councilmember McCarthy, you keep the Transportation Commission.
Thank you, Mayor.
The Water Commission, currently, Councilmember Sweet, you are the liaison.
I am, and I would like to continue.
Is there anyone else who's interested in the Water Commission? All right, Councilmember Sweet remains the liaison, and that is it, correct? Oh, Councilmember McCarthy?
P and Z. Did we do planning and zoning?
Mayor, Council, so we actually don't have a liaison from Council that sits on that commission because most of their matters typically come to Council, and so we felt it was more appropriate to have you at, within your role as council member here at the dais rather than a participant within the commission.
Just a quick note. It seems like I oftentimes have hard questions for staff, but they always have good answers. Thank you.
All right, there's no vote needed for this. Oh, yes, Councilmember House.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to circle back to the Sister Cities International and was wondering if Heidi is still online to be able to share, how does that commission or council meet? Is it in person, virtual? Does it move around? Can you give me some more details on that?
Heidi?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember House. They are currently meeting virtually, and it's our chair is it just got switched, and it's an NAU faculty member that is now chairing it, and Trace Ward, our CBU director, is the secretary, and I believe Gail Jackson from Icona is the vice chair. And so currently when they do meet, and again, I don't believe it's every month, I think it's every other month because they've been switching it around. I'll get that schedule. They're doing it virtually. It's very pain-free, I promise you. And so if you have any desire to dip your toe in it, we would love to have you. If not, again, no pressure. We are definitely our infancy stage, but we are trying to get things rolling this year with at least naming a sister city or 2. I hope that was helpful.
It was. Thank you so much, Heidi. That was great, and I would be interested in serving then.
Thank you, Councilmember
Really
House.
appreciate that.
All right, we are going to move on to our second call for public participation. Do we have any members of the public?
Mayor, we do not tonight.
All right, then we will move on to informational items, 2 from Mayor, Council, and staff, and future agenda item requests. Let's start down at the end with Councilmember House.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Sweet.
Just wishing everyone a happy holiday and welcome all council members. What a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCarthy.
Well, thank you and welcome aboard to the new council members. And thank you to the retiring council members. I guess I'd like to bring something up, and I don't know if this should be a fair. I'll let the city attorney, city manager tell me, but we're presented a petition tonight. I was thinking it might be, I think a lot of the things that were in that petition about sustainability we're already doing, but I was thinking maybe staff could give us a brief report on what we are doing to emphasize climate action, and so that we can maybe decide if we're doing enough. And maybe we are, but Mr. Clifton, do you think that should be a fair, or can we just do that as a quick update sometime?
Thank you, Council Member. I think we can do it as an update and dispense with the formal fair item, but it is at your discretion, but yes, we can.
Well, I think if we do it informally, that's fine, but I think it's out of respect and out of the importance for the issue that it does come back to council sometime, not immediately, but, in the near future.
Yes, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may, because it's not a petition to place an item on an agenda, it's just a petition in general, and it's already something you are dealing with. City Manager is spot on, so he always is.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Aslan.
Thank you. I have nothing tonight except to congratulate everyone in the back of the room for participating in that riveting discussion just a few minutes ago. I hope you guys all enjoyed the show.
Thank you. Councilmember Harris?
And welcome aboard, everybody who's new here. It's wonderful to see some new faces and really looking forward to the next couple of years.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Harris?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Matthews?
I would just like to say thank you to the seasoned council members and Mayor Daggett. I look forward to working with everyone and exciting times for us ahead. So thank you so much, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to our outgoing leaders, Mayor Deasy and Councilmember Salas and Shimoni. I know that we'll be seeing a lot of you, Councilmember Shimoni. And to say that I am really excited to be back working with this phenomenal staff. The city has top-notch talent, and I'm glad to be working with you again. And I'm very glad to be here working with council. And congratulations to our newly elected. And I think that I know we're going to get some really great things done. And that is it. And so we are adjourned.
Flagstaff welcomes nearly 5 million overnight and day visitors every year. These 5 million guests make tourism the largest industry in the city of Flagstaff and is arguably the most important economic engine positively impacting the quality of life for Flagstaff citizens. In the 1980s, much like many other destinations did during this time or even earlier, the city of Flagstaff voted to impose a tax that would primarily burden the visitor in an effort to repurpose these monies to beautify the city, attract new businesses, and inspire additional visitation. In large part, a distinct benefit of the tax is that it is levied on goods and services frequently purchased by visitors. In the spirit of the tax and its intended use, it is vital that monies collected funnel back into supporting the development of a business and a tourist-friendly environment. 1988 was a monumental year for the country, state, and Flagstaff. 1988. The BBB tax was adopted by the voters for a 10-year period. A 2% levy on the gross sales of revenue generated from hotels, motels, campgrounds, bars, and restaurants, and is in addition to all other taxes. Here is what the allocation looked like at that time. 1996. BBB tax was renewed for a 15-year period and allocation changed. The tourism budget was cut 18.5%, as well as cuts were made to economic development and beautification, while Parks and Recreation was added as a newly funded BBB department, receiving the largest percentage of the collected tax monies. 2010. BBB tax was renewed a second time until the year 2028, without any change to the allocation. 2017 has seen record-setting metrics in average daily rates and occupancy for our hotels, strong retention of our cornerstone businesses such as Gore, Purina, and NAU, amazing innovation and entrepreneurship coming from the community such as publicly traded Cineztech, Inc., not to mention proud stewardship of our parks and our arts and culture. In 2028, the current BBB tax will expire, so prior to this date, it will need to be voted on to continue this highly important and productive revenue stream for the residents of Flagstaff. So, BBB is collected as an additional 2% tax on the patrons of our hotels, bars, and restaurants, which support the effort to market the destination to travelers from all over the world. The tax also supports our effort to foster innovation and entrepreneurship in the marketplace. Supports the education of our young people in the areas of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And keeps our community beautiful by providing funds for our public spaces and public art.
Tourism is the management of all direct sales and marketing in an effort to engage, inspire, and motivate new and repeat travelers to the destination. The tourism sector in Flagstaff depends on these efforts to keep demand high for the marketplace. Additionally, the tourism department manages the Amtrak train station and visitor center, where the employees encourage the visitor to extend their stay in Flagstaff and see and do more while they are here. The tourism department works with a council-appointed 7-person commission made up of tourism industry professionals and other local stakeholders.
Vital to our economy and the well-being of our community are the efforts that the Economic Vitality Division at the City of Flagstaff do to attract, retain, and expand the business and visitor landscape in Flagstaff. This division works at inviting people to our premier destination in hopes they will extend their stay and return year after year. They also work vigorously at showing our potential business partners that we offer an environment any organization would be proud to say is their business home base. The Economic Vitality Division is future-focused and helps create a lifestyle in Flagstaff that can't be beat. Flagstaff is a STEAM city. BBB dollars support the education of our young people with science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. These efforts ensure the future viability of our future workforce, help attract higher-paying industries to the area, and enhance the overall quality of life for your community. Beautification and public art is all about the enhancement of the quality of life for our citizens and the enjoyment of all, including our visitors. Flagstaff has some of the most pristine outdoor attractions in the country, and the BBB Fund supports our efforts to keep our public spaces beautiful. These efforts include art installations, landscaping, irrigation systems, beautification of buildings and streetscapes, and the purchasing of property to preserve and improve upon it. People. Programming, direct sales, and marketing are wonderful, but you have to have the talent to accomplish your goals. The BBB funding accounts for this and recognizes that these tax dollars also need to go to providing for full and part-time employees to manage and facilitate the dream. Flagstaff. A vibrant and thriving community with its eye on growing the economy and caring for its community. Like many communities around the country where there is one version or another of a tourism tax, Flagstaff's BBB tax is utilized to great benefit of the community through beautification of our public spaces, education of our young people, attraction, retention, and expansion of our businesses, job creation, library services, and marketing to our visitors to come and appreciate the people and the beauty of Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, Arizona. It's not the Arizona you might envision. Located at 7,000 feet at the base of the San Francisco Peaks in northern Arizona, Flagstaff is a historic monument, a cozy little town full of life, cultural diversity, and friendly people, making Flagstaff, Arizona the perfect destination for your journey. Flagstaff's rich history as a railway and lumber community is still preserved in its restored downtown. Historic sites dating back to the early 1900s, like Reardon Mansion, are well preserved so that visitors can step into the past and witness what life was like in early Flagstaff. Explore America's Mountain Garden at the Arboretum, where the maze of high country plant and animal life goes on for miles. And you can get up close and friendly with Arizona's majestic birds of prey. Just down the road, the Museum of Northern Arizona offers a trip through time, from the dinosaurs of the Colorado Plateau to the very first inhabitants who brought with them a culture and tradition that shaped history. Travel beyond the Earth to the sky at Flagstaff's own Lowell Observatory. Founded by astronomer Percival Lowell, his team of researchers was the first to discover Pluto in 1930. The seasons in Flagstaff are some of the most beautiful in the country, from the refreshing summer monsoons to the turning of the leaves and the breathtaking colors of fall. It's like journeying into an enchanted world. The dreamlike mountain vistas of color and beauty are an inspiration to everyone who passes through here. Snow blankets the peaks in wintertime, drawing avid skiers and snowboarders to the Snow Bowl Lodge, where they gear up and ride the ski lift to the highest point in Arizona. Flagstaff is where adventure is every day, where the seasons are how we imagine them, and the people are who we want to meet, and where the freedom of the American West comes alive. Flagstaff is your destination for all seasons.
For those who are ready to take their next big step, those eager to push past their limits and develop new strengths, come to NAU. You'll find opportunity in every direction, and with an entire institution in your corner, you'll be ready to take on every bit of it. Choose NAU. Choose you.
Kick the dust off your back, don't look back. Give all the dollars you know a fake heart attack. 'Cause you were made for this. You can feel it inside your bones. You were made for this, and it's time you let the world know who you are, what you know. It's happening right now, so run, run, it's an
Flagstaff welcomes nearly 5 million overnight and day visitors every year. These 5 million guests make tourism the largest industry in the city of Flagstaff and is arguably the most important economic engine positively impacting the quality of life for Flagstaff citizens. In the 1980s, much like many other destinations did during this time or even earlier, the city of Flagstaff voted to impose a tax that would primarily burden the visitor in an effort to repurpose these monies to beautify the city, attract new businesses, and inspire additional visitation. In large part, a distinct benefit of the tax is that it is levied on goods and services frequently purchased by visitors. In the spirit of the tax and its intended use, it is vital that monies collected funnel back into supporting the development of a business and a tourist-friendly environment. 1988 was a monumental year for the country, state, and Flagstaff. 1988. The BBB tax was adopted by the voters for a 10-year period. A 2% levy on the gross sales of revenue generated from hotels, motels, campgrounds, bars, and restaurants, and is in addition to all other taxes. Here is what the allocation looked like at that time. 1996. BBB tax was renewed for a 15-year period and allocation changed. The tourism budget was cut 18.5%, as well as cuts were made to economic development and beautification, while Parks and Recreation was added as a newly funded BBB department, receiving the largest percentage of the collected tax monies. 2010. BBB tax was renewed a second time until the year 2028, without any change to the allocation. 2017 has seen record-setting metrics in average daily rates and occupancy for our hotels, strong retention of our cornerstone businesses such as Gore, Purina, and NAU, amazing innovation and entrepreneurship coming from the community such as publicly traded Cineztech, Inc., not to mention proud stewardship of our parks and our arts and culture. In 2028, the current BBB tax will expire, so prior to this date, it will need to be voted on to continue this highly important and productive revenue stream for the residents of Flagstaff. So, BBB is collected as an additional 2% tax on the patrons of our hotels, bars, and restaurants, which support the effort to market the destination to travelers from all over the world. The tax also supports our effort to foster innovation and entrepreneurship in the marketplace. Supports the education of our young people in the areas of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And keeps our community beautiful by providing funds for our public spaces and public art.
Tourism is the management of all direct sales and marketing in an effort to engage, inspire, and motivate new and repeat travelers to the destination. The tourism sector in Flagstaff depends on these efforts to keep demand high for the marketplace. Additionally, the tourism department manages the Amtrak train station and visitor center, where the employees encourage the visitor to extend their stay in Flagstaff and see and do more while they are here. The tourism department works with a council-appointed 7-person commission made up of tourism industry professionals and other local stakeholders.
Vital to our economy and the well-being of our community are the efforts that the Economic Vitality Division at the City of Flagstaff do to attract, retain, and expand the business and visitor landscape in Flagstaff. This division works at inviting people to our premier destination in hopes they will extend their stay and return year after year. They also work vigorously at showing our potential business partners that we offer an environment any organization would be proud to say is their business home base. The Economic Vitality Division is future-focused and helps create a lifestyle in Flagstaff that can't be beat. Flagstaff is a STEAM city. BBB dollars support the education of our young people with science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. These efforts ensure the future viability of our future workforce, help attract higher paying industries to the area, and enhance the overall quality of life for your community. Beautification and public art is all about the enhancement of the quality of life for our citizens and the enjoyment of all, including our visitors. Flagstaff has some of the most pristine outdoor attractions in the country, and the BBB Fund supports our efforts to keep our public spaces beautiful. These efforts include art installations, landscaping, irrigation systems, beautification of buildings and streetscapes, and the purchasing of property to preserve and improve upon it. People. Programming, direct sales, and marketing are wonderful, but you have to have the talent to accomplish your goals. The BBB funding accounts for this and recognizes that these tax dollars also need to go to providing for full and part-time employees to manage and facilitate the dream. Flagstaff. A vibrant and thriving community with its eye on growing the economy and caring for its community. Like many communities around the country where there is one version or another of a tourism tax, Flagstaff's BBB tax is utilized to great benefit of the community through beautification of our public spaces, education of our young people, attraction, retention, and expansion of our businesses, job creation, library services, and marketing to our visitors to come and appreciate the people and the beauty of Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, Arizona. It's not the Arizona you might envision. Located at 7,000 feet at the base of the San Francisco Peaks in northern Arizona, Flagstaff is a historic monument, a cozy little town full of life, cultural diversity, and friendly people, making Flagstaff, Arizona the perfect destination for your journey. Flagstaff's rich history as a railway and lumber community is still preserved in its restored downtown. Historic sites dating back to the early 1900s, like Reardon Mansion, are well preserved so that visitors can step into the past and witness what life was like in early Flagstaff. Explore America's Mountain Garden at the Arboretum, where the maze of high country plant and animal life goes on for miles, and you can get up close and friendly with Arizona's majestic birds of prey. Just down the road, the Museum of Northern Arizona offers a trip through time, from the dinosaurs of the Colorado Plateau to the very first inhabitants who brought with them a culture and tradition that shaped history. Travel beyond the Earth to the sky at Flagstaff's own Lowell Observatory. Founded by astronomer Percival Lowell, his team of researchers was the first to discover Pluto in 1930. The seasons in Flagstaff are some of the most beautiful in the country. From the refreshing summer monsoons to the turning of the leaves and the breathtaking colors of fall, it's like journeying into an enchanted world. The dreamlike mountain vistas of color and beauty are an inspiration to everyone who passes through here. Snow blankets the peaks in wintertime, drawing avid skiers and snowboarders to the Snow Bowl Lodge, where they gear up and ride the ski lift to the highest point in Arizona. Flagstaff is where adventure is every day, where the seasons are how we imagine them, and the people are who we want to meet, and where the freedom of the American West comes alive. Flagstaff is your destination for all seasons.
For those who are ready to take their next big step, those eager to push past their limits and develop new strengths, come to NAU. You'll find opportunity in every direction. And with an entire institution in your corner, you'll be ready to take on every bit of it. Choose NAU. Choose you.
Keep the dust on your back, don't